to our Wolfpack check-in. So this is where we talk things football, from Tim's ongoing Wolves fandom journey to the Premier League drama, transfer rumors, heartbreak, overreactions, everything happened around the world of football. And with the World Cup here, not around the corner anymore, we'll be diving into the biggest storylines, contenders, dark horses, and just give you the updates on the tournament, what we've watched, what our takes are. So whether your club is flying high, you're fighting for survival in the group stages, or making questionable decisions in the game, we got plenty to talk about. So grab your drink, join the pack, and let's get into some football talk. And I don't know, how do you want to start today, Tim? Do you want to start with
I
soccer
think we start
scores
with
or
your big news. I
big
just I got
news?
to hear about the experience and just hear all about it. I'm excited.
Yeah, yeah. So big news. It came on the podcast last week. It started off with Tim, so I give Tim the the credit for this, but we became full on New Zealand supporters from this podcast and our predictions.
Big time.
So I was lucky enough to be able to get some tickets to go watch New Zealand versus Iran yesterday. So as you can see, I had the white jersey on yesterday. I'm working on my little montage video of everything from yesterday. You can see I went full out. Got
Fire.
the black one too, so I got both jerseys full on 100% Kiwi. But the experience, I will say, the New Zealander fans, amazing, man. So before the game, there's this group on Instagram that I found, the Flying Kiwis FC. It's a group
Hmm.
of New Zealanders, Kiwi fans that majority of them are from New Zealand, fly over to support the squad when they play international games, and they were all out here for the game yesterday. So in the morning from 11 to I think it was about 4, um, at Tom's Watch Bar, right across the street from SoFi Stadium, or what they call it now, Los Angeles Stadium. It's not SoFi, Los Angeles
Oh,
Stadium.
all right.
They had a pregame. So the top of Tom's Watch Bar, a restaurant bar, was full. Just you needed a bracelet to get in. Um, so we went. Me, Vera, Vera's sister, our my brother-in-law, and their daughter, our niece. We all went to the game. So it was 5 of us. We sat
Hmm.
differently at the game, but we went to that. And what I was telling you, Vera, was funny because like I told them about it, and I think at first they weren't as excited. I think they were a little nervous because they're like, "Oh, this is like full on Kiwi like
Hmm.
party." I was like, "Yeah, we'll be okay." Like not really knowing what I was getting myself into, but
Hmm.
when we got there, everybody had an awesome time. The fans there, especially like the homegrown fans from New Zealand, very welcoming, man. So
That's awesome.
I'll try to do some montages while I'm talking of some of the videos, but very welcoming, fun crowd, very friendly. It was funny everywhere I was walking and like waiting for the bathroom line, waiting their drinks. Everybody was like, "Hey, you coming from New Zealand?" I was like, "Nah, I'm local, not even a New Zealander." But I told him,
Yeah.
I was like, "Hey, I run a very small time podcast right now with my buddy," and I was like, "We picked New Zealand to get out of the group, and we're full New Zealand, and
Hmm.
I got the chance to come to this game." So, and a lot of people were very welcoming. So great time, drinking a lot, hearing them do their chants, even just to music. Man, the one video we have, if you guys check it out on Instagram right now, that chant, man, it was just so electric hearing that in person from the fans, everybody yelling it, screaming. That type of environment you can't find anywhere else.
Absolutely. I have that song. I wasn't there. FOMO for sure because it looked amazing.
Yeah.
But I've had that song stuck in my head all day. It's called Poye, and I did a little bit of background research on it because it's
Uh-huh.
been quite a discussion in the comment section. A lot of
Mhm.
people, are saying it's a traditional classic. It's culturally loved, and that's pretty much exactly it. From everything I've seen. Excuse me if I'm not pronouncing some of these names correctly. But it was performed by Patea Mori Club and released in 1983, reaching number
Okay.
one in New Zealand charts in 1984. And it basically was one of the uh, one of the most popular songs sung in the Mori language,
Mm-hmm.
and has become a classic. And I think a lot of people are kind of talking about how it's popularized,
Mm-hmm.
even right now for World Cup, New
Yeah,
Zealand soccer or football, where it seemed to just hype everybody up
it
tremendously.
did. It,
It's I mean, not knowing the language, super catchy, right?
yeah, it's super catchy. The melody was great. You could just vibe to it. If you look in that video, there's this older gentleman with the hat. He had his like little pom poms or something.
Saw
That guy
that.
was just, you saw him. He was just like raving, man. He was having a
Yep.
great time, and I thought it was awesome. Like I said, you could
Yep.
see people all around just having a great time. Belting their lungs out, and like I said, it was a fun pregame experience. I don't know how many other supporting clubs that come into SoCal here at Los Angeles Stadium, up at San Francisco Stadium, across that are doing this. And like I said, we'll talk about it a little bit later. The only ones that I've seen, Scotland and Boston, those people are
Love it.
taking over that city. Love it, but
Oh,
we'll get to
yeah.
that. We'll get to that a
Oh,
little later.
so sick. Yeah.
but yeah, I as New Zealanders, we took over that restaurant. It was funny because we left because we wanted to eat, and we tried to get a seat at the restaurant because it was hard to eat upstairs because everybody was just drinking, not many tables. There was a line outside of the place just to come in because I think people
Wow.
watched the game there, but also they weren't letting fans that were upstairs go down anymore. They're like, if you go down, you can't come back up because there was a line
Mm.
of people waiting to go in.
Hmm.
So what the group did, the Flying Kiwis FC, they created an awesome pregame party supporting the New Zealand. So that was the first part. Then we made the walk to the stadium. Like I say, I've seen stories of how long it takes to get in. It's not as long as people really say. It was a
Hmm.
pretty smooth process. I don't know if it's just because the game wasn't as big as USA Paraguay, but the process wasn't that bad. It was pretty simple, pretty chill. Um, but yeah, once I sent it to you, Tim. I think we had it in the story. Once I got to my seats, I didn't know how good my seats were from the beginning.
Hmm.
I don't feel like I pay. I knew I was paying a good amount, but I knew it was pretty close. But man, I could pretty much smell that fresh cut grass when they sprayed the
Telling you.
water, the sprinklers. Could feel some of the sprinkles just hitting me. Amazing seats.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, fresh cut grass smell. I was, almost wondering if you maybe got some sweat from the players on you as well.
Could have probably.
I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty glued to the TV, throughout the match, just because of our support for the Kiwis, but also trying to see if I could see you, in the stands. I think a lot of the broadcast was facing down, so above you, if I'm
Yeah,
not mistaken, facing
yeah,
towards the field. I think when it switched sides, some angles that kind of popped through on
yeah,
some of the second half goals. And I was like, oh, yeah, it looks like kind of like the angle. Your seats were ridiculous.
yeah.
I feel like, the price you paid to get in seemed like a steal, to be honest
Hmm.
with you, for the seats that you got.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
yeah.
And then I also, if you second to that, if you could elaborate a little bit about, just you mentioned your section, a lot of
Oh
Iranian
yeah,
fans, and you were
yeah.
standing strong.
Yeah. It was. I will say the stadium felt 90% Iranian fans,
Mm,
and the rest neutral supporters and a small group of Kiwis.
okay.
And as if you know the country, New Zealand, it is a smaller country, so and it's hard to travel. It's like a 14-15 hour plane ride.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I think in like the row I saw, because I looked around, I think it was only another group, a pair, a mom and a son,
Mm,
and the son was younger. So and I think they probably might have been a little freaked out because shout out to the Iranian fans in my section, they were really chanting for their team.
wow.
They would be loud. Like my eardrums, I feel like might have popped. And
Whew.
at first, like I say, when I got there, I saw the crowd that was around. I was like, ugh, I don't know how much I could celebrate without maybe getting into some trouble, you know,
Hmm.
because I think I'm just used to the Dodger type fan. If you're not a Dodger fan, you're celebrating for the
Oh
other
yeah.
team. It's not good news for you. But
Nope.
I think I reached a point. I had some alcohol. I didn't even drink that much. I had like 4 beers probably, but
Hmm.
I was at a point where I'm like, I don't care. Nothing's gonna happen, and if something does, well, something does. But I'm gonna support New Zealand, and it was funny because like Vera recorded me once. I think the second time she was a little distracted, but I was like the only person like yelling, standing up, cheering for their team when New Zealand scored the 2 goals, and everybody around me you could just hear quiet. It was pretty quiet, and we could take
Damn.
over that stadium, but it was like I say for me it was I was there as a Kiwi fan, New Zealand, and when my team scored, I got excited and I was stoked. It was a fun experience. Like I say, seeing I sent you the video and I think you also posted that. Kudos to you for being a somewhat our social media manager for the page with what I
Had to
could
be.
send
Yeah.
send that day.
Once in a lifetime. Love it.
Yeah, but the goal, like I say, Vera caught it perfectly. That first goal for New Zealand. Um, Second one, it was on the opposite end of the field. But man, like that electrical atmosphere, the energy that you felt in that stadium for both clubs and just for the sport, it was awesome. It was
Hmm.
awesome. An experience I'll never forget going to a World Cup. Um, and like I say, I think if it's something someone could do, I know it's expensive, and I think I was going to touch on that. People probably would say I paid a little too much, and I'll be straight up. I paid 450 for those seats. People
Hmm.
probably at first when they look at the game, they see New Zealand and Iran. They're probably like, yeah, that's too much for that close. But honestly, I think out of all the games I've seen since the beginning of the World Cup, that was memorable. It was a great game
Hmm.
from start to finish, very close, and I think the storyline, people are saying, good, good result for New Zealand and Iran, but honestly, Iran's way higher ranked than New Zealand.
Hmm.
I know a lot of the stuff Iran's going through and a lot of the stuff they've been dealing with politically, which, like I say, I won't get into too much. It is tough, but man, New Zealand is like ranked pretty much like 80 something, where Iran, I think, is like in the 30, 40. So, like I say, higher ranking, more, that means more quality players, um and it's just like one of the craziest things, and I think New Zealand actually won that game because we got a point. New
Hmm.
Zealand as of now still undefeated in World Cup tournaments since they've been participating. All been ties
Incredible.
but never lost, so you gotta give him something for that. But I think it
Undefeated.
was undefeated for New Zealand. Yeah, so but overall it's a great game, great experience. I don't know what else to say. Like I say, fun time. Shout out, like I said, shout out to New Zealand. I'm a full Kiwi. Vera had she has her inflatable Kiwi. I don't know, I
Nice.
don't know where she put it. So it,
Sick.
it, it was it was good, great experience. Like I say, hopefully everybody could experience it once in their lifetime. Hopefully it comes back in the future in the U.S. and it's maybe a little bit more affordable and not as expensive as it is, but that experience, and especially for, like I say, a club that we ended up supporting on this podcast, and
Hmm.
we're going to continue supporting the rest of this tournament and hope, and we think they're going to get out of the group stage.
Hmm.
It'll be awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're heading up north of the border to Vancouver for their next match. I believe next two matches, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So that'll be pretty cool. Yeah, excited to follow along. For the ride. I'm glad it took off the way it did. I think that the channel support and the feedback, just even from that video to the take that we had with New Zealand, like it took a far more incredible turn than we could have ever imagined. I think at this point, something where is a sharp shot in the dark take, but I remember I was telling Jen that just kind of how it went down with the choice of New Zealand. And then maybe about 5 minutes later, you're like, I could tell you're still kind of thinking about it. You're like, you know what,
Yeah,
Tim, I like that choice, and it just kind of took off from there.
it
And
did.
we're a big time Jersey hat podcast, and just looking at John right now, that's a fire jersey,
Oh
like
yeah,
super badass. I was looking at
yeah,
I was surfing the internet yesterday during the match itself, and I saw one sweatshirt that said, "My heart is filled with black" or something, and it was just part of the flag, and it had the
yeah.
leaf on it. I was like, dude, it's fucking badass. Like, low key want to order it, and then I kind of almost just want to turn this into rugby support later. Like,
Eh,
I feel,
I think it's going to be like I was talking with Vera, and I was like, after the warm welcome we got at that pregame, and just how much we felt from that fandom, we're like, we got to go to New Zealand sometime. Like, we have to
oh
make it a
yeah,
point just to go visit, because what we experienced, and like I say, I don't know, I'm not going to speak on other country supporters, other like groups like this, but they were very welcoming of everybody.
hmm
There were quite a few non New Zealanders, but they were supporting a friend that was from New Zealand, or they just supported the club. They were welcoming, not really talking smack. I told them, I was like, hey, my first country I'm going to go for is USA. My country's not in it, El Salvador, where we're just not that great of a team right now. So
hmm
so welcoming, and a friendly group, because I know sometimes it could, and especially in the sport of soccer, it could get a little reckless. Some of these fans are very rowdy, but like I
yep,
say, New Zealanders, and I'm only going to speak on them. I'm not going to say it's all fan bases, but there might be some that isn't. Very friendly, and like I say, felt welcome, felt safe. Like I say, if they ever come here again and they do something like that, like, I would honestly feel comfortable taking Keanu to it because of how friendly and welcome, and I wouldn't be scared that there's going to be a fight with them around.
absolutely. No, it looked like just a great time. Everybody's just
Yeah,
happy to be there. It's a team that I feel like we could kind of almost consider up and coming. I feel
hmm
like you mentioned only draws. It's a smaller country, and I hope it's something that will continue to grow. And um, you certainly got two Americans on this podcast rooting for you guys. So hopefully we can get something honorary fandom of the Kiwis, because the vibes looked immaculate. I just really I like that laid back lifestyle they seem to take on. And I can just tell from the comments, everybody just
yeah,
seems really happy and
yeah.
you know there for the culture, the music.
hmm
Just a lot of comments about it. Me just
yeah.
kind of looking, from the outside in, and and then your story kind of coinciding with that. I think it
hmm
sounds awesome. So
yeah,
love that. And yeah, just weekly updates, I think, is just absolutely necessary
yeah,
for all things New Zealand. Hopefully, we can even pop in. They play again this weekend, correct, or in
yeah.
the next few days?
I think they play Saturday, probably
Okay,
Friday or
okay,
Saturday. Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think they
no, well,
take on. I think they're taking on Egypt,
I think you're right.
which will be another tough challenge. But I think when we talked last week, at first I had Belgium getting out of their group, and then I think I said I had Egypt, New Zealand,
Mhm.
Iran. Um, the way Egypt, Belgium happened, I think of New Zealand. If we could get 3 points out of Egypt, which I think is possible, the way they played,
Yeah,
um, it's a big win. The momentum's on with them. Tim Payne, that momentum's still there.
love
Uh,
it.
I see it happening more. And then, like I said, Belgium tying Egypt. You could say it's a little disappointing for them, but
hmm
yeah, it's there. And I see Rob commenting a lot on the live.
Love it.
Uh, yeah, talking about Jimenez. Um, yeah, yeah, Wolfscar Jimenez. We
Yes,
talked
he's
about that a little
back.
bit. He's back. That's an exciting signing.
Yeah, big
Yeah,
goal, big goal for
yeah,
Mexico as well.
yeah. Big goal for
Um,
us.
yeah, loved it. Electric.
Yeah.
And see, I my comfort level with the Wolves, just quick little side tangent with that comment. I think we're back in a year. I think we're back in a year, and I'm fully confident in that. The addition of Jimenez, we did part ways with the coach.
Yeah.
We are in search for the new coach. Coach seems fine with it. Saw a picture of him already on vacation, sipping on some wine. Good for him.
Yeah.
I hope we go out there, we find somebody who provides a good fit. But I think that a lot of the squad might stick around
Mhm.
the way I'm kind of seeing it. Hopefully, a decent majority.
Yeah.
But just the addition of, if you're adding Jimenez at this point for a team that's not all the way up in the EPL, I
Mhm.
feel like a lot of people would kind of want to join that and go
Yeah.
along for the ride.
Yeah, yeah, and the story of Jimenez, when he was on the Wolves, his injury that almost was career ending, and like I say,
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned it, Mexico, South Africa, the first game, Mexico winning 2-0, right? 2-0.
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah. Jimenez scoring a goal. You can see how emotional it was for him because he probably didn't know if he was going to be able to make it back to World Cup after that head injury. He needed, a lot of surgery, recovery. And now going back to the Wolves, it's a big one. So, yeah, Rob. Jimenez, that's a good one. T- Rob says Japan's his B team.
Okay.
That's a, yeah,
Yeah. No, we
not
talked
bad.
about South Korea. South Korea looked very good, right?
Yeah, yeah.
In their first match down in Mexico City. Winners of that match, I believe, right? I think it
Yeah,
was 2-1.
2-1. South Korea winning that one.
Yeah, Japan, we talked about them. They seem no nonsense, not scared of anybody.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of that with that South Korea match, just to
Hmm.
kind of touch bases on that as we kind of go through these matches. There were some players that maybe fell. They thought South Korea was maybe being a little bit too aggressive at points.
Hmm.
South Korea, full of savages,
Yeah.
just fucking badasses. I saw them. They're like, yeah, like just
That's a good
stepping
team.
over them, like kind of get up wimp, like what are you doing? Like talk, like willing to talk that talk.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that because it backs up with what we talked about last week. The coach was like, yeah, we're not afraid, you know,
Yeah.
ready
Yeah.
to face you mano a mano.
Yeah. And they shouldn't be afraid. That's a solid squad. So what they're gonna have a tough. They play Thursday. South Korea, Mexico. Big game for that
Ooh,
group. Um,
yeah.
I think that's why Rob says watching it at a bar on Thursday. I think we'll have to try to see if we can make it happen. Go
Yeah,
out
where are we
somewhere.
going? Where are we
Yeah,
going? We got to go.
yeah, yeah. We got to go,
What
but
time? 6?
it probably I would have to look what time,
Night
but
matches.
yeah,
Hooky?
but
Play
yeah,
hooky for the day?
yeah.
Just kidding.
but yeah, Mexico, South Africa, and I think the last thing Rob sort of says, yeah, at 6.
Okay.
Mexico national team almost made him cry. Yeah, and like I said, that's the one thing I'll say with like New Zealand. Like my country, the home country I support, El Salvador, isn't in the World Cup. But how much I've given to New Zealand since I knew I was going to the game, since we came on their fandom,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know their national anthem, but still the chills, the feels I felt. There were times I wanted to like cry just because it was amazing, and I like
Wow.
I said, I think that's what brings so many amazing fans, and you see it in the stands. I was watching the Argentina game today.
Mm-hmm.
Argentina won 3-0. Messi hat trick. We could talk a little bit
Unbelievable.
about his goatness, but you can see the fans there just to be part of that, hearing their national anthem at a World Cup, and especially for Argentina, a team that's coming to try to repeat. Those fans, that's everything to them. It means so
Mm-hmm.
much, and I see it a lot. So I know Rob doesn't like Argentina. Mexico's not big of us talking about Argentina.
Where's Ronaldo's
But
hat trick, Rob? Didn't see it
well,
yet.
tomorrow we'll see. We'll
They
see if
haven't
we can
played.
do
I
it.
know. But yeah,
But
he looks sick today.
uh,
I can't lie, Rob. Can't lie.
okay.
Messi looked like a fucking goat out there. He looked like
Yeah.
a badass.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, it was good. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, like I say, I think if Rob would go to like Mexico City or just seeing the Mexico national team, for you, if you'd go to a German national team, having
Mm-hmm.
those German roots, just being there, it unlocks something in your mind and your brain. I don't know what it is that just lets all those feelings out, and it's a feeling that
Mhm.
you'll never experience any other way. So
We talk a little bit about cultures. We've talked a little bit about my ancestry. Um, I feel like I could feel that with like 10 different European countries, John. Just like, some type of history. I
yeah,
was trying to screenshot it. I don't know if you can screenshot Ancestry because it wasn't letting me send it. But I was looking up because, maybe we'll get into it right now with
yeah.
Scotland. But I was like, I have a decent percentage of Scottish blood in me. I'm like, the vibes in Boston, the Red Sox game at
Yeah.
Fenway, the chanting, the singing. They kept singing "Walk a Thousand Miles,"
Hmm.
um, and it just kept going on and on and on. They're walking through
Yeah.
the city with bagpipes, just badass. Everybody's wearing their kilts everywhere. Beer's probably just being destroyed. Probably record drinking beer going on this weekend over there. And you just bring up a super valid thing about like what the World Cup can bring, the introduction of cultures. Um, it's another one to pinpoint was the Netherlands, like sea of orange, right? Going
Yeah.
through St. Louis,
Hmm.
Jameis Winston getting involved in it,
Yeah.
and just the dance that they have going, the chants. You never would have thunk it, just
Yeah.
seeing that in Midwest United States.
Yeah.
All that going on. It just cultures colliding,
Yeah.
um, and I've seen a lot of I think eye-opening moments when it comes to foreigners traveling to the U.S. because I think not to get political, I just think that there's this perception of the U.S. in the world,
Yeah.
and I think they come here to the U.S. They see that most Americans are very courteous people
Yeah.
and very welcoming, and um, enjoy stuff like this. So,
Yeah.
and they're coming here. There's several accounts that are like big gulps. Never tried it. Amazing. Chili's, sampler platters, bottomless margaritas. Like
Uh,
we got it. We
it's
got it.
insane.
Come more often. We love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just badass.
It is.
And you mentioned it with the national anthems with New Zealand, and it's just maybe you haven't experienced it yet. It brings
Mhm.
tears to your eyes. I think it's just an incredible feeling. Rob mentions it. With Mexico, incredible. You
Yeah.
just it's all unity. Soccer, I think it just might be that sport that just brings everybody together.
Yeah. I think it is. Like I say, not many you see many people talking smack about it, saying it's a boring sport, but what this brings internationally is sort of what the Super Bowl brings just to us here in the USA, but at a larger scope because like I say, it's your bloodlines, for a lot of people, like you, English, maybe English, Scottish, German,
Irish,
Irish, you said you might have
Denmark,
some
Netherlands.
some Islander because you so
Yeah.
a commenter has the same last name as you, with an extra
Yeah.
M, so it's
Love it.
like you never know, how much one country means to someone, and especially some countries that have gone through so much, and this might be the only time they're in the World Cup. We'll talk about it a little bit right now. It is Curacao, so Germany versus Curacao. Germany
Mhm.
did what they needed to do. They won 7-1. Not a surprise, but that one goal Curacao scored to tie it 1-1
Mhm.
at the beginning, it was electric. You can see the fans crying in the stands because this is a country, such a small country that never made it to the World Cup, making it and scoring against a giant like Germany.
Mhm.
It's life changing, and it like I said, I had the feelings for those fans when that happened. How excited I was watching it here in the living room. Amazing. So, like I say, I think that's what the World Cup brings, and people that say they're not a fan, I I hope you take some time to watch some games, hear the story, see the fans, and see how much they care about this game and how much it unites fans. Because, like I say, the one thing with like me going to the game, New Zealand versus Iran, like I say, I was celebrating, but when I left, I was shaking Iran Iran player or Iran fans hands, giving them fist bump.
Hmm.
Hey, good game, and they were the same, very respectful, very nice. I think I told her I think they had a lot of respect for me for standing up for my team, my squad. Because like I say,
Hmm.
I was the only one cheering for New Zealand in that area, and like I say, I didn't back down. But I think there was some respect for that because also when they scored, I respected them because the goals they scored also were very nice. Some of those
Hmm.
goals they scored. So um, I think it's great. So, but yeah, like I said, Curacao, a great story. Scoring one goal, yeah, they lost 7-1, but that's something they'll remember for history. And who knows, they could still do well.
Hmm.
Another team that you could say that played that we'll remember will be in the history books a bit.
Cape Verde.
Cape Verde.
Yeah, the
0-0
goalie.
draw versus Spain. Yeah, that goalie, 40-year-old,
Hmm.
he went from like, have you seen his Instagram followers from like
Oh,
200K up to like 4 mil?
yeah. There
He
was a
crashed
really
through
cool
campaign.
graphic where they just showed the ticker of it going up throughout the
They,
game. Went up to what, 2.5 million from
yeah,
like 20,000?
I think he's at
Unreal.
like 4 million by now. I think last I
Well
saw.
deserved too.
Yeah, well deserved. Like I was talking to Chris. I was like, hey, that dude just has to post a bunch of videos right now and make that money because I know
Hell yeah.
he's probably retiring from soccer soon. So take advantage of it. But
Hmm.
like that story too, Cape Verde. I don't think they've been at the World Cup ever. Going to the World Cup and drawing against probably the favorite and the team I picked to win it, Spain as well. Amazing for them. I
Hmm.
gave I think it was like reaching like the 80th minute, and I was at a point where like I want Cape Verde to win. I just want them to
Hmm.
score because what Spain did was embarrassing to them, to that country. Um, no one saw it. It concerns me about Spain because, like I say, they couldn't do anything
Hmm.
against this team that they should have handled pretty easily. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, that like I said, that's another story.
Is Rob still in your life?
Uh, I don't see him on my live.
Damn it! I'll clip it and send it to him. I um I was gonna say I arguably might be passing Rob's soccer knowledge because
Oh,
if you remember correct, hot take already. Uh, remember, I was jokingly pretty close to choosing Cabo Verde to
yeah,
as a choice
yeah.
to win out in their group. It could have been a generational run mixing that with
It
New
could have
Zealand.
been.
I think the draw alone incredible,
Yeah,
incredible, win for Cape Verde altogether. The goalie, phenomenal, phenomenal
hmm,
performance, phenomenal recognition that he's getting currently.
yeah,
I think that's freaking awesome. You look at the other side of the ball, Spain, disappointing at first. I think a lot of these powerhouses, minus a couple like Germany, kind of getting off to some slow starts. A lot of
hmm,
draws, a lot of low scoring matches
yeah,
that maybe they weren't expecting. Maybe just have to kind of get in a groove.
yeah,
As we move forward, didn't really see it from Argentina.
yeah,
Complete control of that game altogether.
hmm,
Um, talk Messi's hat trick.
yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah,
One goal by the half by halftime comes out of the second half. I could tell there was like a certain kind of aggressiveness to Messi that
hmm,
this dude's attacking. This dude's all
hmm,
about it. He wants that hat trick. I think he wants to put his full effort out there for his
yeah,
last World Cup. What we're all thinking here, and
hmm,
um, I think with that hat trick, he's now tied for the most goals in World Cup history. So with
yeah,
16,
yeah. I think he's tied with the German,
the German.
the German. It's not closer. Is it closer? It might be
Yeah,
closer.
it is. It is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he tied with that. Like I say, Ronaldo's really right behind him. And
Mm-hmm.
Mbappe most likely could break that in within the next few World Cups because he's still a youngster. But yeah,
Hmm.
I think what Messi did was, and I think it's probably some of the naysayers who still doubt the World Cup last year, Messi's contribution, because a lot of Messi's goals last World Cup came from penalty kicks. So
Hmm.
how much that and there's a lot of people saying like game shouldn't end in penalty kicks. It's the worst way to end a final or even a game. But I think he's here to prove something and to show that their win probably wasn't a fluke. It wasn't like collusion, anything like that. And yeah, he played amazing. What Argentina did, Algeria, they should have won it for sure. It
Hmm.
shouldn't have been no discussion about it. And I think what sort of made them be really pushing is seeing some of these other games. Like I say, Spain versus Cape Verde. I was telling Chris, I was talking to him today. Um, because we do our little sports betting prize picks underdog
Hmm.
here in California, all we could really do. But he asked in our larger group text message, is there people throwing games? And you could say yes or no why these big teams aren't winning. Could it be them playing with the odds and that? I honestly think what Spain did is more analytical. I think they felt like it was an easy game and they could have played it without their starters. I mean, Yamal didn't come in till what was it, 75th, 80th minute, only played like 15 minutes. When Lamine Yamal was playing, they looked like a totally different Spain team and they were getting so many more shots and chances. But like I said, that was a little too late, and that was too much of
Hmm.
their confidence. And I think Argentina saw that, and they're like, "Hey, we can't let off the gas pedal. We got to go full force because it's only 3 games. You drop one, you're in big trouble."
Absolutely. Yeah. Kind of odd. Just I don't know if it's strategic, saving them for later games. Maybe Espana kind of thought it was going to be one of those matches that they could easily slide by. It wasn't the fact. They didn't really make the adjustments to
Yeah,
try to get there by putting in a guy like uh, Yamal. So
yeah,
um, uh, we'll see how it goes going forward.
mhm,
Obviously Spain still a powerhouse.
mhm,
Your favorite to kind of take over in win this World Cup. Lots of soccer left to be played as far as it goes all together.
mhm.
But this opening round, just perfect,
Yeah,
just perfect from all aspects. I
yeah,
think it's perfect from small stories to fan interactions, cultures
mhm,
colliding,
yeah,
chaos on the pitch, with some of these draws and
mhm,
possible upsets.
yeah,
Super, super cool. I love all of
yeah,
it.
yeah. I think a few more to touch on: Canada versus Bosnia Herzegovina, a tie. I think that's a disappointing draw for Canada. I mentioned
Hmm.
Bosnia probably being like the number 2 group out of there. They could
Yep.
be number 1 after this outcome. Canada didn't look that great,
Hmm.
so we'll sort of see. Disappointment for the host nation to not win the first game, where USA Mexico did win.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like I said, for me, I think that was a disappointment result for Canada.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Disappointing for sure. Not what they had hoped. Of course, as you mentioned, in respects to the other host nations, kind of coinciding, United States looked fantastic. Four
Yeah,
one over Paraguay.
yeah,
Um, Really just great effort altogether. This is a U.S. team that we haven't seen in a while.
yeah,
It's I think we gotta keep our heads even keeled. We
yeah,
can't get too overhyped with it. Um, we know our history
yeah.
with this. Also, just wanted to shout out one fellow guy that's losing hair to another, Landon Donovan. Really appreciate. I don't know if you saw this, Sean. He did full on documentary style with getting a hairpiece.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Low key, what if I did it? I was like, I'm like,
Uh,
I just can't pass it up with anybody.
yeah,
So I'm just like, nah, I'm just going to represent the bald. But
yeah,
I respect it. He's on TV. Maybe one day if I get him, if we're on TV, and stuff like that.
yeah,
As we go, it'd be just kind of a fun thing to do. But super, super cool. Glad he's out there commentating it. But the
yeah,
hair looks great.
yeah.
Luscious,
Hey.
like he was back in the early 2000s. Fantastic
Yeah,
look.
yeah. Her looks great. A lot of people, I think it was some big news. If you see some of his
Mhm.
other pictures of his hair, he had
Oh
some
yeah,
pretty bad looks.
yep.
So this is a lot
I
better
know how it
look
feels.
for him. But yeah, I think the one thing USA, and I see a lot of fans, a lot of people talking, a lot of us USA fans, there's a lot of us that have our heads up in the cloud thinking we're unstoppable.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
I mentioned Paraguay being a very good defensive team, which they are. This is a team that beat Brazil, that beat Argentina in the
Mhm.
CONCACAF. So if you could beat those two squads, you are a solid squad. And we destroyed Paraguay. Could have been nerves for Paraguay playing in the USA, pro USA crowd, like majority of it, maybe. But what we did was great. Pulisic hopefully isn't hurt too badly. That's why he went off on the
Mm.
after the first half. That kick
Yep.
to the calf. But like I say, but our team looks good. I think the one one storyline I like from this, Gio Reyna. Like I say there was a lot of controversy him being on the team. Hasn't been fit for this last about like year and a half. But this is a player. I was talking to my brother-in-law. I've always liked Gio Reyna as a player. I truly think if Gio Reyna could stay healthy and plays at his club level, he probably is one of our best players in the U.S. I think he
Mhm.
could be better than Pulisic, and he is a lot younger than Pulisic. He's just been hit with the injury bug. What happened at the last World Cup too was a lot of drama that probably hurt him. But this guy technically it is so solid. I enjoy his gameplay and the way he scored that goal at the end of the game. Not many people could take a shot like that and that great. I hope this kid gets more of an opportunity because I think he has a lot to give and is a good piece for the USA.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's seems like a lot of pieces are coming together for this squad. And you know, decisions were made that we thought were kind of questionable kind of heading into this tournament altogether. Uh but the way things kind of clicked this first game, it's kind of tough to argue against a lot of that. Um so especially when it comes to Diego Luna, we that's kind of the main talking point on that
Yeah,
topic. Um so tremendous outcome. It's all we could have asked for at this point. So
yeah,
I hope that they can keep it up, like you mentioned. Hopefully, Pulisic is getting healthy.
hmm
Calves of steel,
yeah,
hopefully, and nothing but a flesh wound. Hopefully, it was something where they thought, "Hey, we're in control of this match.
hmm
Pull him, and just let him rest."
yeah.
Don't know if you saw. Uh, Freaking Diego Luna going on a stream, basically, kind of talking a
Oh, yeah.
little bit about his cut. He mentioned the fact of possibly joining another country. He said that he mentioned something about a one-time change. So I don't
Yeah.
know if that's still a possibility for him.
I think there is a way possibly to do it. I did see it with Chicos Toxicos.
Yep.
Shout out to them. I've always enjoyed the content they've come from the ground up. For me, why I also like them. Like I think it's totally different than what we do, and but I like seeing what they're doing because it's a Hispanic type podcast and also just vlogging channel that
Hmm.
they do. But it is possible, but I think he's going to really look at his options because, like I say, it is it worth it to go to Mexico? What Mexico talents there? It could be hard to break through. Whereas USA, same thing. It's always going to be hard to break through, and I think what he needs to do is just continue playing, trying to play his best. I was listening. I forget where I was listening it to, but I heard that a lot of USA players stayed in the MLS because they were getting offers to play in Europe and go play at a European club, but they didn't want to because they weren't sure how much exposure they were going to get, how much playing time they
Hmm.
were going to get in Europe. Whereas if they stayed in the MLS, they knew they were going to play, they were going to be able to show their skills. And like I say, I think the one thing Diego Luna needs to do is, if he's getting offers from Europe, go play in Europe, because even not playing as much, game time, you're gaining the experience of playing with other international stars and not trying to put down the MLS. MLS is a B squad. It's pretty much G League compared to European clubs in the EPL and in the Premier and the Primera League, the Spanish Premier League, the Italian league, even like the German, French leagues. MLS cannot manage those type of clubs. So I think what some of these players need to do is not worry too much about playing time, but just trying to break through a club. Because if you break through into a European club, the way the players that we have are in European clubs, you might be a lot more considered for a national team than staying in the MLS.
I second that. Yeah, I a lot of Rob's been a very big advocate, alongside yourself, John, with my learning process with a lot
Yeah.
of soccer, football, and through that, it's watching different levels
Mm-hmm.
of Major League Soccer itself. So we watched, I think it was like LAFC
Mm-hmm.
versus somebody, and watched that match. I think Armando happened to be always an LAFC fan, so I think
Mm-hmm.
that's why we're watching them. We saw that speed. Then that took us into YouTube, watching those 20-minute replays of EPL
Mm-hmm.
soccer and Spanish league, and just going from MLS to that, just the speed
Oh yeah.
alone is considerable. Like, anybody would notice it. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, wow, these dudes are twice as fast
Mm-hmm.
as what we just watched. And the accuracy of the kicks, the strength of the kicks, the speed of the running,
Yeah.
um, is yeah, it's minor league baseball to
Mm-hmm.
major league baseball,
Yeah.
college baseball to major league baseball. It's just such a big difference. And in that, you just get to learn that, like, you see what the real deal is and where the
Mm-hmm.
talent truly lies, and it's definitely in Europe.
Yeah.
That might change one day. It's going to take a tremendous amount of time to get there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we, there's deep roots with that, and you did a great job covering that topic. I think we talked about it like a year ago. But when it comes to European soccer altogether, I think you bring up a great point when it comes to players like Diego Luna, because do you go to Europe and learn from the best?
Mm-hmm.
We talk about, um, let's use Aaron Rodgers as an example with the NFL, sitting behind Brett Favre for a number of years, learning from him,
Mm-hmm.
and then he comes in and creates his own Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
It's happened a ton of times. So,
Yeah.
um, same thing goes for this. Sometimes all it takes is this backpedaling, learning a
Yeah.
little bit, getting some opportunities to learn to play at that level, and
Mm-hmm.
then being a beast when it comes to international play. So
Yeah.
hopefully that's the route he goes. He gets the opportunity to do that because there's talent there. We all know it.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing he has going for him is he's very young. So
Yeah. Yeah.
plenty more of soccer to be played in his career with as far as Diego Luna goes.
Yeah, yeah. Still very young. Still will have a few World Cup opportunities. So yeah, I hope he goes to Europe, continues to build on his career and his skills, because he has a lot of great skills. And like I say, I think that's what U.S. And I would say even Mexico, like, they have to start letting their players go play in Europe, because if you look at World Cup winners, a majority of those players in those leagues either play in big European clubs, or in the big European clubs, and very few play in the local clubs. And like I say, Mexico is full of a lot of players that play in the Mexican national or the Mexican league, and same with the US. They all play in the MLS, and you got to move out of there because it isn't as elite of a league compared to those. And yes, it's going to take many years to get to the level of a Chelsea, a Real Madrid, Barcelona, Man U, Arsenal, PSG, Byron. And but while until that time comes, these players have to continue going to Europe and building their skills because they'll learn a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's where it's at.
Yeah.
Are we nearing final points on this Wolfpack check in altogether, John, or do we have more
Yeah.
matches to cover?
I think the last one I sort of want to, or last two, Brazil
Mm-hmm.
Morocco 1-1 draw. Uh, I think I had
Mm.
Brazil as my team that wasn't going to get out, and
Yep.
as of right now, it's not looking too good for them. They didn't look great against Morocco. Morocco's a solid squad though, but
Yeah.
Brazil they should have done more for the hype that they have around them. I think Morocco was your dark horse to make a
Yep.
long run, and they're looking really good to make that run.
Looking really good. Yeah. And I also noticed on social media Neymar was getting a lot of heat.
Yeah,
And just his selection altogether, who they left out, and maybe the people that they left out, if they were in, could have had a different result.
mm-hmm.
Is what a lot of people are saying. The draw was there, good for them. But yeah, it's your take's looking good too, John.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's looking good. My other take isn't looking that great. I had Turkey being my dark horse. They lost 2-0 to Australia. I
Mm.
think Turkey was way too confident with this game. I think they thought it was going to be an easy win for them against Australia, but the Socceroos, that's a dangerous squad, so they got humbled. Um, and it's going to make the group with the U.S. a lot more dangerous because Turkey, like I say, Turkey's still a solid squad. They have a good core. They have a lot of good young players, and they can't drop another game. So, like I say, this group is, I still think, the group of death for me, the USA group.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, especially just the way Australia came out and won it.
Yeah.
It seemed that I thought maybe middle of the pack is looking like a force in the division, and when you have stuff like that, group of death sounds very fitting. Love that name, the Socceroos. Been hearing a lot of that this weekend.
Yeah.
So badass.
Yeah.
Love that. And then I just have a couple. I have a question for you, John.
Okay.
That I'll end with, and then my comment in something that I've always found really fascinating and really cool is just the impeccable manners and tradition of manners that Japan has.
Yeah.
Year after year, doesn't matter the sport really. Soccer's more pronounced with when it comes to World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Just anything from the fans cleaning up their section after the
Mm-hmm.
game to the players leaving the locker room more tidy than it was when they
Mm-hmm.
arrived is
Yeah.
incredible. Um, Huge shout out to Japan just for common courtesy and just manners. Just
Mm-hmm.
experts in all of it.
Yeah, yeah. What they do, it's amazing. I don't think many other countries do that. I think some other people from other countries, when they see them start doing it, they start helping. But they're the pioneers of that. Even the team keeping the locker room clean. Totally appreciate it. I think it's an amazing story, and it's something they've always done. It's not just
Mm-hmm.
them trying to get news. It's just what that country has done, those fans and players have done, and I think that's why there's a lot of people that really support them and like them because honestly, the workers that are already working in the stadium, they're working hard.
Mm-hmm.
And just that little gesture means a lot to some people. So I
Yeah.
totally appreciate it.
Yeah, because in turn, that just turns into really any of the stadium workers being able to go home to their families a little bit quicker.
Mhm.
To less cleanup to do and incredible stuff. Really loved it. So shout out Japan there. final question that I have for you, John, is you know, we're a podcast that enjoys our drinks. You know, here we start off our podcast with it.
Yeah.
When it comes to New Zealanders, the Kiwis, any particular bev that they were kind of was a go to, or they were they just aiming at American beer and trying it out?
Um, I saw a lot of Pacifico Modelo. That ran out pretty
Love it.
quickly.
Yes,
It's what I wanted the
excellent.
most, and every time I would go to a bar, I was like, "Nope, we're out." I think they had to bring a few
Mm,
cases up, but they got dried up pretty quick. I think towards the end, I was having a Coors Banquet because that was pretty much all there was left.
yep.
But they drank that place dry.
Love it. Love it. Seems like that's just the common theme, you
Yeah,
know, from Boston with the Scots
yeah,
to, you know, all the way out west here with really any of the clubs playing out here. Yeah, you're in LA. Mexican beer's big deal out here.
yeah,
Love it with the Modelo and Pacifico because
yeah,
those are honestly my go-tos for
yeah,
just common regular beer. I really skip over a lot of the American beers in all honesty, unless it's an
yeah,
IPA. But they did right. Good for them.
yeah.
Nice.
They did it right, and honestly, like I think when I looked at the group stages, I sort of looked at all the games in Boston. Boston better like have the country start sending them so much beer from other states,
Mm,
because they already started running out of beer probably with Scotland, and then they had Norway today. Norway, if you've seen some of those fans, the way they're all
mm.
rowing in the stadium, amazing. The way they're all
Incredible.
like the Nordic rows are like, you see them all in sync. It is an amazing scene to see. Um,
Yeah. So badass. So you
yeah,
sent me the clip of that too,
yeah,
maybe about a week ago,
yeah,
and incredible. It puts the U.S. chant to shame, if even if we want to call it that.
yeah,
It's just we need to skip it. We need to stop that.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
stop it.
Just don't do anything.
Yeah.
Um, but like I say, they have Scotland versus Morocco on the 19th.
Oof.
That's already a big drinking game. Uh, then the 23rd, England versus Ghana. The British are coming, and British people,
Ooh.
it's gonna get crazy in Boston. Um,
Yes. The
and
Boston Tea
then
Party.
the Boston Tea Party 2.0.
Yep.
And then one of the last group stage matches, they have Norway and France. So
Ooh.
from what
Ooh.
I've seen right now, probably the best state that has the best games. Like I say, most electricity.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like it. Sounds like it. In well deserved. I mean, Boston, just a ton of, you know, UK roots,
Yeah.
European roots. Um, so it makes sense. God, I'm sure it's electric over there. Where are the what stadium are they playing these games at?
Um,
Is it
what is
Fenway?
it?
No.
No, it's what is it? Foxborough. It's Patriot Stadium
Oh yeah, that's
or
right.
Gillette,
Badass.
whatever it is.
Yeah, Gillette. Yeah,
Gillette. Yeah, yeah.
Tom
I
Brady
always
Stadium.
Tom Brady Stadium.
Might as well.
They probably call it Tom Brady Stadium.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, maybe they'll call it Good Nut Stadium uh, for his new Bev.
it could
Makes
be.
sense. Good Nut.
Yeah, couldn't. But yeah, like I say, and like I say, seeing the Scottish fans, I keep on seeing the reports and it comes up on my timeline. I don't know if I sent it to you. Those guys, the bar's opening at 9:30. They're lining up a whole crowd at 8 a.m. and they're drinking
Oh
all
yeah,
day. It's insane.
yeah. Did you have? I think you shared it with me, if I'm not mistaken. They're drinking the plains dry on the
Oh
way in. They ran out
yeah,
probably not even halfway through.
yeah,
So they're asking, where's the local pubs already? Um, just I I don't know how they do it.
yeah.
Just the capacity, the they are the marathon runners of the beer game.
Oh yeah.
Incredible, ultra
Yeah,
marathoners, I should say.
ultra marathoners. Yeah, so I don't know.
Incredible.
Boots on the ground out there in Boston reporting podcast. Let us know how it's going.
Minor,
How
Minor, our
yeah,
friend group Minor.
it's
His name's Minor. He lives out that way. Got to let us know. Boots
yeah,
on the ground, Boston.
yeah, yeah. Because
Sounds
they're
amazing.
they're even going to Red Sox games, and I'm seeing how
Yeah,
crazy those Red Sox games are getting. So
loudest it's
that's
been all
awesome.
season because they kind of stink.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's what they need.
It is what they need. But yeah, that's soccer takes. That's all I got for today. Anything else from you, Tim?
No, I just love it. This is in the past when it comes to World Cup growing up, paid a lot of attention to when Italy won it. Just with
Mm-hmm.
my Italian roots, I'm literally a mutt. If I haven't said it enough, I am a mutt when it comes to just nationalities. Got into it there. The every World Cup, I feel like I would only watch when a particular team would play, or depending on like how far they are in it. This time around, I feel like I am finally gaining a true appreciation of how fucking awesome the World Cup is. Just absorbing as much as possible. Just getting my full cable back, paying it again, and just loving it.
Yeah.
Great timing for it. So,
Yeah.
shout out World Cup. It's been a hell of an experience. Thank you for sharing your experience, Sean.
Mhm.
From yesterday, sounds
Yeah.
amazing. Once in a lifetime kind of vibes. Super sick. Love
Yeah.
it.
No, it's super sick. And honestly, mentally, I'm telling myself, New Zealand makes it out of this group stage. I may make a commitment and go wherever they play.
Ooh,
I may make that commitment, even though
love it.
they may not win it. Getting out of group stage, I don't know. I'm full New Zealander this World Cup.
Yeah, I might. I might have to join you.
Yeah,
It'd be really good for the podcast. It would
it
be
would be.
really good.
Yeah,
Because honestly, day oneers here.
yeah, yeah,
It's it. Got to get my jersey though, because that jersey's sick.
yeah,
Love it.
yeah. But that is our Wolf Pack World Cup check in.